Fiancée cheating right before our wedding. You won't believe her reaction when I found out. The moment I see her name pop up on his phone screen, my heart stops. It's the night before our wedding, the night before we're supposed to say our vows, and I'm standing here in the hallway, staring at a glowing phone on the nightstand. The text notification is innocuous enough, just her name, but it's enough to stir that pit of doubt in my gut that's been festering for weeks. Maya and I were supposed to have the perfect wedding. The kind of wedding where the groom waits at the altar with a smile so wide it hurts, while the bride walks down the aisle glowing with happiness. That's what I thought we'd have, at least until now. I reach for the phone, my hand trembling. I shouldn't look. I know I shouldn't, but something compels me. Maybe it's because she's been so distant lately, pulling away just when I thought we were the closest we've ever been. Or maybe it's because her late-night phone calls are always hushed, too low for me to hear. I unlock the phone and there it is, her message. I miss you. Can't wait to see you tonight. My throat tightens as I reread the words, disbelief flooding my senses. Tonight? She's seeing him tonight? I feel the blood drain from my face as a rush of emotions hits me all at once. Anger, confusion, heartbreak. I knew something wasn't right. I knew there was something off about the way she's been acting, the late nights, the secret smiles she tried to hide. I drop the phone onto the bed and step back, feeling like I've just been punched in the gut. I want to scream, but no sound comes out. My fiancée, my soon-to-be wife, is cheating on me, and she's meeting him tonight. Adrenaline surges through my veins. I have to know for sure. I grab my car keys, heart pounding, and head for the door. Tonight, I'm going to find out everything. And when I do, she'll regret ever betraying me. The drive to her place feels like a blur. I can't think straight, my mind spinning with what I've just seen. The world outside the car is dark, cold, and quiet. But inside, I'm boiling over. How could she do this? How could she throw everything away the night before our wedding? I grip the steering wheel harder as her address flashes on my GPS screen. My chest tightens as I turn onto her street. I park a little further down the road, out of sight, and kill the engine. My hands shake as I sit there, staring at her apartment building. The lights are on. I can see the faint glow through the curtains. And then, I see him. A tall, lean figure steps out of a car and walks toward the building. It's him, the guy she's been sneaking around with. I can't make out his face, but I don't need to. His confidence is unmistakable. He's not worried about getting caught. He probably doesn't even know I exist. Why would he? Maya's never told him she's getting married tomorrow, that I'm the man she's been planning a life with. My vision blurs with rage as I watch him disappear inside. For a moment, I just sit there, breathing hard, gripping the wheel so tight my knuckles turn white. I should storm in there, confront them both. But something in me holds back. This has to be handled right. I need proof, undeniable proof. No way am I going to let her talk her way out of this. I pull my phone out of my pocket and start recording. I open the door quietly, slipping out into the night. I feel the cold air bite at my skin as I creep toward the building, every step filled with the weight of betrayal. The door clicks softly behind me as I step into the hallway, my pulse pounding in my ears. Her apartment is on the second floor. I take the stairs two at a time, my breath shallow, my heart racing. When I reach the door, I hesitate for a moment. I can hear them inside, muffled voices, laughter. That laughter stabs through me like a knife. How long has she been laughing with him while lying to me? I step closer to the door, trying to hear their conversation. Her voice is soft, sweet, the way she used to talk to me. My fists clench. I know what's coming next, and I'm ready for it. I raise my phone, the camera recording every second, and I push the door open. The door swings open, and time seems to slow. The scene inside hits me like a wrecking ball. There she is, Maya, the woman I've loved for years, the woman I plan to marry tomorrow, sitting on the couch with him. They're so close it makes my stomach turn. Her legs draped casually over his lap as if this is the most normal thing in the world. For a second, they freeze, eyes wide, caught in the act. Maya's face drains of color as she realizes what's happening. The guy, tall, dark hair, smug grin plastered across his face, looks like he's just been slapped by reality. He doesn't move, doesn't even flinch. He's waiting to see what I'll do. I raise my phone higher, the camera still recording, capturing every second of their shame. So, this is what you've been doing, Maya? The night before our wedding? My voice is barely controlled, simmering with the anger I've been holding back. Maya jumps up, her hands trembling, her voice cracking as she stammers, "Rick, I can explain." "No, don't even try." I cut her off, my eyes burning into hers. "Explain what? That you've been sneaking around with him for God knows how long? That you were planning to say, 'I do' tomorrow while hiding this?" She opens her mouth, but no words come out. There's nothing she can say that will fix this. I turn my attention to him. He's still sitting there, a smug look creeping back onto his face, as if this is some kind of joke. That's when I lose it. You think this is funny? You think ruining someone's life is a joke? I take a step closer, fists clenched at my sides. He stands up, finally, trying to size me up, but I don't care. You knew she was engaged, didn't you? You knew, and you did this anyway. He shrugs, like it's no big deal. Look, man, I didn't force her. She came to me. Maybe you're the one who should have paid more attention to your girl. That's it. I lunge at him, fury driving me. My fist connects with his jaw before I can even think, and he stumbles back, crashing into the table behind him. Maya screams, rushing between us, pushing me away, but I barely feel her. "Stop it, Rick, stop," she yells, her voice frantic, but it only fuels the fire burning inside me. I step back, breathing hard, my knuckles stinging from the impact. "You're both disgusting. You deserve each other." I point the phone at her, the camera still recording. "I hope you remember this moment, Maya. I hope you remember what you threw away." Her eyes are filled with tears now, but I don't care. I'm done. I turn on my heel and storm out, leaving them behind, leaving her behind. The phone in my hand feels heavy, like it's holding all the proof I need to never look back. I step outside, the cold air hitting me like a slap, but I keep moving. The video will be enough. Tomorrow, instead of vows, I'll be serving her papers. I drive back home in a haze, the adrenaline slowly wearing off and leaving me with a crushing weight in my chest. I replay everything over and over again in my mind. The look on her face, the smug way he shrugged off what they were doing, like I was the fool for caring. My knuckles throb where I hit him, but the pain doesn't even register. All I can think about is how close I came to marrying her. How close I came to walking blindly into the biggest mistake of my life. I pull into my driveway and sit in the car, the silence wrapping around me like a suffocating blanket. This house, our future together. It all feels meaningless now. I feel stupid, like I've been living in a dream while she was living a lie. I always thought we had something real, but I was wrong. I was wrong about her. About everything. The phone in my pocket buzzes, and I know it's her. I don't even need to check. The thought of her trying to explain herself now makes me sick. What could she possibly say? That it was a mistake? That it didn't mean anything? I pull out my phone and stare at the screen. There's a flood of texts from Maya, all of them unread. The last one says, "Please, let me explain. It's not what you think. Not what I think. I saw everything. I have it on video. There's no getting out of this, no talking her way back into my life." My thumb hovers over the screen, tempted to block her number, tempted to cut her off completely and just disappear. But no, I'm not going to make this easy for her. She doesn't get to walk away from this without facing the consequences. Tomorrow was supposed to be our wedding day. Instead, I'm going to show her, and everyone else, exactly who she really is. I get out of the car and head inside, the weight of what's to come pressing down on me. I make my way to the kitchen and pour myself a drink, the burn of whiskey sliding down my throat barely making a dent in the numbness that's taken over. Tomorrow, at the venue where we were supposed to say our vows, I'll be showing up with something else. I grab the divorce papers from the desk drawer, the ones I'd prepared months ago as a backup. I never thought I'd actually need them, but now, they feel like the only way to set things right. As I sit down, my phone buzzes again. This time, it's my best friend, Mark. He's been my rock through everything. He even warned me something seemed off with Maya. I didn't listen. "You all right, man?" His voice crackles through the speaker, concern thick in his tone. "I caught her," I say flatly, staring at the papers in front of me. Caught who? There's a pause, and then it clicks for him. Wait, Maya? What happened? I tell him everything about the texts, about the video, about how I walked in on her with that guy, and how tomorrow I'm going to drop the bomb at the wedding. Jesus, Rick, he breathes. I'm sorry, man. You need me there tomorrow? Yeah, I nod. Even though he can't see me, I'm gonna need all the backup I can get. Tomorrow's going to be a show. I hang up the phone and sit in silence for a long time. Tomorrow, it all ends. The morning of the wedding feels like the calm before a storm. The kind of quiet that presses down on you, heavy with everything you know is about to happen. I stare at myself in the mirror, already dressed in the suit I was supposed to wear to marry the love of my life. It feels surreal, like I'm watching someone else live out this nightmare. The suit fits perfectly, a painful reminder of the day we picked it out together. Maya had smiled up at me, her eyes filled with excitement about the future. How easily she lied with those same eyes, deceived me while planning a life she never intended to live. I tighten my tie, my jaw clenching as I remind myself of why I'm doing this. Today was supposed to be our wedding day, the start of a new chapter. But today, I'm writing my own ending. The venue is a beautiful place, rustic, with sweeping views of the valley. Maya picked it out. She wanted something timeless, something that would make the perfect backdrop for all the photos we take as husband and wife. I remember her excitement when we toured the place, the way she'd squeezed my hand and said, "This is it, Rick. This is where we're going to start forever." I feel sick just thinking about it. I drive to the venue with the divorce papers and the video still on my phone, ready for the moment that will change everything. Mark's waiting for me when I arrive, standing outside in the parking lot, his face a mix of concern and grim determination. "You sure about this?" he asks, his hands in his pockets as I step out of the car. I nod, though my stomach churns at the thought of what's about to happen. She deserves it. After everything, she deserves to be exposed. He claps a hand on my shoulder. "All right, I've got your back, man. Whatever happens." The guests are already arriving when we walk in. It's a strange feeling, seeing friends and family here, dressed up for a celebration that will never happen. Some of them give me warm smiles, expecting the happiest day of my life. But all I can do is force a nod and keep moving. They have no idea what's coming. I step inside the room where Maya is supposed to be getting ready. My heart races as I walk down the hallway, my footsteps echoing in the quiet. Mark stays behind, giving me the space I need for this final confrontation. I push open the door and find her there, standing in front of the mirror in her wedding dress, the one she was supposed to wear to become my wife. She turns around when she hears me, and for a second, her face lights up. But the moment she sees the look on mine, the color drains from her cheeks. "Rick," she starts, her voice barely above a whisper. "Please, let me explain. Last night," I cut her off, my voice cold and sharp. "Last night was all the explanation I needed. I saw everything, Maya. I know everything." Her eyes widen, filling with tears as she takes a step toward me, her hands reaching out. "Rick, I'm sorry. It was a mistake, I swear. It meant nothing." "Nothing?" I laugh bitterly, pulling out my phone and showing her the video. "Does this look like nothing to you?" She recoils, her hands covering her mouth as she watches the footage of her and that guy, the moment I walked in on them last night. Tears spill down her cheeks, but they don't move me. I've seen enough. I'm not marrying you, Maya. I pull the divorce papers from my jacket pocket and hold them up. You threw everything away. This is what you get. Her tears turn into sobs, her makeup smudging as she shakes her head. "Please, Rick, don't do this. I love you. We can fix this, we can." "There's no fixing this," I say firmly, throwing the papers down in front of her. "I'm done." I turn and walk out, leaving her there, sobbing in her wedding dress. As I walk out of the room, her sobs echo behind me, but I don't stop. I can't. I've given her too many chances in my mind, too many times where I tried to rationalize what was happening. But this is the end. Mark is waiting for me in the hallway, his face tense as I approach. He doesn't say a word, just nods, understanding that there's nothing left to talk about. Together, we head toward the main room where the guests have gathered, completely unaware of the storm that's about to hit. The ceremony area is beautifully decorated, with flowers arranged just the way Maya wanted. The aisle is lined with candles, and at the front, there's an arch draped in soft, white fabric. It's picture-perfect, everything she dreamed of. But none of it matters now. I take a deep breath as I stand at the entrance, my eyes scanning the crowd. Friends, family, co-workers, everyone we invited is here. They're all waiting for the happy couple to walk down the aisle, to celebrate love. But instead, they're about to witness the complete destruction of it. Mark steps forward, calling for everyone's attention. His voice cuts through the chatter, drawing their eyes to us. "Ladies and gentlemen," he says, and I can hear the weight in his voice. "There's been a change of plans." A murmur spreads through the crowd as people exchange confused looks, some standing up from their chairs, others glancing toward the back of the room, wondering what's happening. I can feel their eyes on me, feel the tension building as they wait for an explanation. This is it. I step forward, my heart pounding in my chest, my voice clear and steady. "There won't be a wedding today." The gasps ripple through the room like a wave. I see the shock on their faces, the confusion, and then the questions start flying. I hold up my hand, silencing the noise before it can spiral out of control. "I'm sure you're all wondering why." I continue, my eyes sweeping over the sea of faces. "The truth is, I've just found out that the woman I was supposed to marry, the woman I thought I knew, has been cheating on me." The room goes dead silent. You could hear a pin drop. Even the air feels heavier, as if the very atmosphere has absorbed the weight of what I just said. I feel the eyes of everyone burning into me, but I don't waver. I've come this far, and there's no turning back now. I pull out my phone again, holding it up for everyone to see. "I have proof," I say, my voice firm. "Proof of her betrayal. And I want everyone to know what kind of person she is." I press play on the video, the one of Maya and her lover, the one I recorded last night. The room watches in stunned silence as the footage plays, and I see the horror spread across their faces as they realize what's happening. There's no denying it now. There's no hiding from the truth. The whispers start, a ripple of disbelief and judgment running through the crowd. Some people look away, uncomfortable, while others stare in shock at the screen. I hear murmurs of, "Oh my God," and "How could she?" But I don't care about their reactions. This isn't for them. It's for me. It's for my closure. I stop the video, tucking the phone back into my pocket, and I meet their stunned gazes. I'm not marrying a liar. I'm not marrying someone who doesn't respect me enough to be honest. So, I'm ending this. I see my parents in the front row, their faces a mixture of sadness and pride. They've always had my back, and I know they'll support me through this. I nod to them, grateful for their quiet strength. Without another word, I turn and walk out of the room, leaving the gasps and whispers behind me. The weight on my shoulders lifts with every step I take. As I step outside, the cold air hits me, clearing the fog in my mind. The sound of the murmuring crowd fades behind me, replaced by the quiet rustle of the trees and the distant hum of traffic. I stand there for a moment, breathing it in, letting the chill calm the fire that's been burning in my chest since last night. Mark comes out after me, his face tight with concern. "You all right?" he asks, but we both know it's a stupid question. Of course I'm not all right. How could anyone be all right after the kind of bomb I just dropped in there? "I'll be fine," I mutter, more to convince myself than him. I run a hand through my hair, trying to push away the chaos in my mind. "It had to be done." He nods, his hands in his pockets, watching me closely. "I know, man. Jesus, that was brutal. She deserved it. But still, that was rough." I glance back toward the venue, imagining the scene inside. Maya's probably still crying, trying to explain herself to anyone who will listen. But they saw the proof. They know what she did. No one's going to side with her now, not after what they just witnessed. I couldn't let her get away with it, I say, my voice hardening. She was going to walk down that aisle like nothing happened. She was going to lie to everyone. I couldn't let her do that to me. Mark sighs, nodding again. "You're right. I'm just sorry it had to end like this." I don't say anything. What's left to say? Sorry doesn't fix betrayal. It doesn't take back the nights she spent with that guy. laughing behind my back, lying to my face. It doesn't fix the fact that the woman I loved, thought I loved, turned out to be someone I didn't even know. We stand there in silence for a while, the cold creeping into my bones, making me feel hollow. I pull out my phone, scrolling through the unread messages from Maya. Each one is more desperate than the last, filled with apologies, excuses, pleas for me to give her another chance. But I've heard enough. I don't need to read them. There's nothing she could say that would change what I saw. Suddenly, the door behind us opens, and Maya's father steps out. His face is pale, his eyes filled with disbelief and anger. He looks between me and Mark, his jaw clenched as he tries to find the right words. "I don't know what you're trying to pull, Rick," he starts, his voice low and trembling with barely contained rage. "But whatever this is, this video, this stunt, it's not how you handle things." I stare at him, feeling my own anger flare up again. "You think this was a stunt?" I snap, stepping toward him. "You think this was for show? Your daughter has been cheating on me for months, and you're mad because I exposed her?" Maya's father shakes his head, his eyes narrowing. "You didn't have to humiliate her like that. There's a way to handle these things like an adult." "I am handling it like an adult," I shoot back, my voice rising. "I'm not marrying someone who betrays me. If you want to blame someone, blame her for what she did. I didn't lie. I didn't sneak around. I'm just the guy who trusted her." He opens his mouth to say something else, but then Mark steps in. "Look, Mr. Harris," he says, holding up a hand to calm him down. "You need to talk to your daughter. She's the one who messed up here, not Rick." Maya's father glares at both of us, his chest heaving like he's struggling to keep himself in check. For a second, I think he's going to punch me, but then he just turns away, muttering something under his breath, and storms back inside. I watch him go, the tension in my body slowly draining away. "Unbelievable," I mutter, shaking my head. Mark lets out a low whistle. "Man, this day just keeps getting worse." I nod, shoving my hands in my pockets. "Let's get out of here." As we walk toward the parking lot, I feel a strange mix of emotions: relief, sadness, anger, but above all, a sense of finality. This chapter is over. She can't hurt me anymore. Mark and I drive in silence for a while, the tension of everything that just happened hanging heavy in the air. I stare out the window, watching the world blur past, trying to wrap my mind around the fact that, by this time tomorrow, my life will look completely different. There's no wedding. There's no future with Maya. I should feel broken, devastated even, but all I feel is empty, numb. Mark glances over at me. "What now?" he asks, breaking the silence. I shrug. "I don't know. I guess I just figure it out from here." The truth is, I have no idea what comes next. Everything I'd planned, everything I'd built my future around, was tied to her. And now, it's gone. My mind keeps racing back to all the things we talked about. Buying a house, starting a family, growing old together. It feels like all of it just crumbled in front of me, and I didn't even have time to process it. We pull into a small diner, the kind of place we used to hang out in during high school. It feels like a safe space, far from the chaos of the wedding that never happened. The bell jingles as we step inside, and the smell of coffee and greasy food hits me. It's almost comforting. We slide into a booth, and Mark orders 2 cups of coffee. For a few minutes, neither of us speaks. It's like we're both trying to figure out how to navigate this new reality. I don't know if I should be angry, sad, or relieved. Eventually, Mark leans forward, his voice low. "You know, man, you did the right thing. What Maya did, that's unforgivable. You deserved better." I nod, but I can't quite bring myself to respond. The words "deserve better" echo in my mind, but they feel hollow right now. What do I deserve? I thought I deserved her. I thought I deserved a life with the person I loved. But now, I don't even know what I want anymore. The waitress brings our coffee, and I take a sip, letting the warmth spread through me. It's not enough to chase away the cold that's settled in my chest, but it's something. I look up at Mark, searching for the words, but they don't come. "Do you think," I start, my voice barely above a whisper, "do you think I'll ever feel normal again?" Mark looks at me, his eyes soft with understanding. "Yeah, man, you will. It'll take time, but you will. I want to believe him. I want to believe that someday I'll wake up and not feel like my world has been ripped apart. But right now, it feels impossible. Every part of me is still reeling from the shock, from the betrayal. How do you move on when the person you trusted the most stabbed you in the back? Mark takes a sip of his coffee, his eyes thoughtful. You know, you don't have to have it all figured out right now. Take it one day at a time. Get through today, then tomorrow, then the next. You'll get there. I nod again, knowing he's right but still feeling that ache in my chest, that hollow emptiness where my future used to be. We sit in silence for a while longer, the low hum of conversation around us blending into the background. The world outside the diner feels distant, like it's happening to someone else, while I'm stuck in this moment, trying to pick up the pieces of my life. After a long pause, I finally speak again. I'm gonna need a fresh start, aren't I? Mark smiles softly. Yeah, you will. But that's not a bad thing. I lean back in the booth, staring out the window at the people passing by, living their lives. A fresh start, I repeat, letting the idea settle. Maybe it's not the worst thing. Maybe it's exactly what I need. The words, a fresh start, roll around in my mind long after we leave the diner. There's something about it that feels both terrifying and liberating. A clean slate means walking away from everything I thought I knew, everything I'd planned with Maya. It means starting from scratch. But it also means I'm not trapped anymore. I can build something new, something better. Mark drops me off at my place, and I thank him for sticking by me through the mess of the day. Anytime, man, he says, clapping me on the shoulder. You know where to find me if you need anything. I watch him drive away, the sound of his car fading into the distance as I stand there, staring at my front door. The house feels different now. It's no longer the place where we were going to build a life together. It's just a house. Empty. Quiet. I walk inside, closing the door behind me, and the silence presses down. I glance around the living room, my eyes landing on the wedding invitations that are still scattered on the table, mocking me. There's a stack of them, unopened, all addressed to guests who were supposed to witness a celebration of love. I stare at them for a moment, then scoop them up, walking toward the trash can. One by one, I drop them in, listening to the soft thud they make as they hit the bottom. It feels symbolic, like I'm letting go of all the hopes and plans tied to them. Invitations to a future that never existed. I toss the last one in and take a deep breath, one step closer to letting go. I make my way to the bedroom, my legs feeling heavy with exhaustion. The bed is still neatly made, like it's waiting for something, but all I feel when I look at it is a deep sense of loss. This was supposed to be the beginning of something new, the place we'd come home to after the wedding. Now, it just feels like a reminder of everything that fell apart. I collapse onto the mattress, staring up at the ceiling. My mind is a mess, replaying the events of the last 24 hours on an endless loop. Every detail, every emotion, every painful realization. How did it all go so wrong? Maya's face flashes in my mind. Her tears, her pleas, her excuses. But all I can hear is her laugh, the laugh I heard last night when she was with him. That laugh will haunt me for a long time. I reach for my phone, scrolling through the unread messages. There are so many from her, all saying the same thing. Please, Rick, let me explain. I made a mistake. It's not what you think. But I don't need an explanation. I don't need her lies anymore. I scroll past her messages, feeling a strange sense of relief as I press block. She's out of my life now. I stare at the ceiling for what feels like hours, my thoughts drifting in and out of focus. Eventually, the exhaustion wins, and I close my eyes, sinking into a restless sleep filled with fractured dreams and half-formed memories of what could have been. When I wake, it's dark outside. The clock on my nightstand reads 3:14 a.m. I sit up, rubbing my eyes, feeling the weight of everything settle on my shoulders again. But this time, there's something different. A faint spark of clarity. I grab my phone and open the browser, typing in divorce lawyer near me. It's the first step, the first move toward reclaiming my life from the wreckage. I scroll through the options, making a mental note of the ones with good reviews. This is happening. It's real. For the first time since all of this started, I feel like I'm in control again. It's a small feeling, but it's there. a flicker of hope in the darkness. I can get through this. I can rebuild. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but eventually. And that's enough for now. I fall back into bed, my body still exhausted, but my mind a little clearer. Tomorrow, I'll call one of the lawyers. Tomorrow, I'll start fresh. Morning comes quicker than I expect. Sunlight filters through the blinds, and for a moment, I forget everything. Just a fleeting second of peace before reality crashes back in. Today was supposed to be the first day of my new life as a married man. Instead, it's the first day of my life without Maya. I sit up, the weight of yesterday settling back on my shoulders, but it feels lighter now, less suffocating. I grab my phone and open the list of divorce lawyers I'd bookmarked last night. After a moment's hesitation, I pick the top one with the best reviews and dial the number. The receptionist answers, her voice chipper and professional. "Good morning, Miller & Associates. How may I assist you?" I need to file for a divorce," I say, my voice sounding hollow in my own ears. There's a brief pause, then her tone softens, like she's done this 1,000 times before. "I'm sorry to hear that, sir. Let me transfer you to one of our attorneys who can assist with your case." A few minutes later, I'm speaking with a lawyer named Rebecca, a no-nonsense woman who walks me through the process with the kind of efficiency that makes me feel like I've made the right choice. She's all business, asking me questions about our assets, about the video, about how I want to proceed. It feels strange, talking about something so personal in such a detached way, but maybe that's what I need right now. Someone to take control while I just try to keep my head above water. "We can file the papers today," she says, her voice steady. "It'll be served within a few days. Do you want to include the video as evidence of infidelity?" I hesitate. The thought of making that video public, of dragging this whole mess out even further, makes my stomach churn. But then I remember Maya's face, her lies, her betrayal. She deserves to face the consequences of her actions. "Yeah," I say firmly. "Include the video?" "All right," Rebecca says, her voice calm and professional. "I'll get everything in order. You'll receive an email with the details, and we'll move forward from there." After I hang up, I sit there for a while, staring at the blank wall in front of me. I've officially taken the first step toward cutting Maya out of my life for good. There's a strange sense of finality in it, like I've just closed a chapter that I'll never reopen. I should feel relieved, but there's still this dull ache in my chest, this lingering sadness that I can't shake. I don't miss her, not the person she turned out to be, but I miss what we were supposed to have. I miss the future I thought we were going to build together. I get up, moving through the house like a ghost, my footsteps echoing in the emptiness. Everywhere I look, there are reminders of her, of us. The framed photos on the wall, the throw pillows she insisted we buy, even the coffee mugs in the kitchen, each one a small token of a life we were building together. I gather them up, one by one, stuffing them into a box, trying to clear the space of her. It feels therapeutic in a way, like I'm reclaiming my home, piece by piece. Just as I'm about to head outside to drop the box in the garage, my phone buzzes. I glance at the screen, and my heart skips a beat when I see her name. Maya. Against my better judgment, I open the text. It's short, just a few words, but they hit me like a punch to the gut. "I need to talk to you. Please." My thumb hovers over the screen, the urge to respond battling with my better instincts. What could she possibly say now? What excuse could she come up with that would make any of this better? I stare at the message for a long time, the anger bubbling up again, but I don't respond. Not yet. Instead, I block her number. I'm done with her explanations, her lies, her excuses. I've given her enough of my time, enough of my heart. I won't let her take any more of me. The phone feels lighter in my hand as I set it down, like I've just lifted a weight I didn't even realize I was carrying. It's time to move on. Time to focus on myself, on the life I want to build without her. I grab the box of her things and head to the garage, tossing it into the far corner, where I won't have to see it. Out of sight, out of mind. A fresh start. That's what this is. And for the first time in days, it feels like maybe, just maybe, I'm ready for it. Days pass, and with each one, I feel a little stronger, a little more in control of the mess my life became. The divorce papers are filed, and the ball is officially rolling. Rebecca keeps me updated on the progress, and even though it feels like a long road ahead, at least I know it's moving forward. The days of waiting for Maya's lies to unravel are over. Now, I'm the one deciding what happens next. I've blocked her on every platform, text, social media, everything. It feels good, like I've put a wall between me and the wreckage of my old life. Every day, the distance between us grows, and that suffocating feeling in my chest eases just a little more. But it's not all smooth sailing. There are still moments when it hits me, hard and fast, like when I pass by the bakery where we ordered our wedding cake, or when I hear a song we used to love on the radio. The ache in my chest flares up at those times, reminding me that healing isn't a straight line. It's messy, filled with ups and downs, and sometimes it feels like 2 steps forward, 1 step back. On one of those days, when the weight of it all feels a little heavier than usual, Mark shows up at my door with 2 six-packs of beer and a pizza. He doesn't say much when he walks in, just hands me a beer and plops down on the couch like it's any other day. We sit in comfortable silence for a while, eating and drinking, until he finally speaks up. "So, how are you holding up?" I take a long sip of my beer, letting the cold liquid settle the storm inside me. "Better. Some days are harder than others, but I'm getting there." Mark nods, chewing thoughtfully. "That's all you can do, man. One day at a time." I chuckle bitterly. Yeah, that's what everyone keeps saying. It's true, though. Look, I know it sucks right now, but you're doing the right thing, cutting her off, moving on. You don't need someone like that dragging you down. He's right, of course. I know he is. But there's still this part of me that can't help but wonder, why? Why did she do it? Wasn't I enough? Did she ever love me? Or was it all just a lie from the start? Those questions swirl in my mind, but I know there's no point in trying to find the answers. She doesn't deserve that kind of power over me anymore. I grab another slice of pizza, trying to push those thoughts away. You think I'll ever stop thinking about her? About all of this? Mark leans back, taking a long drink before he answers. Yeah, eventually, you will. Maybe not completely, but it'll fade. Trust me, it won't always hurt like this. I nod, even though I'm not sure I believe it. Maybe it's true. Maybe, someday, she'll just be a distant memory. Someone I used to know. Someone who taught me what I don't want in my life. But right now, she still feels like a wound that hasn't fully healed. We finish the pizza, and the beers keep coming. By the time Mark leaves, I'm feeling a little lighter, the buzz taking the edge off my thoughts. It's moments like this that remind me I'm not alone. I've got people who care about me, who are here to help me pick up the pieces. And that's something. After he leaves, I sit on the couch for a while, just staring at the TV without really watching. My mind drifts back to the future I once imagined with Maya. The house, the kids, the life we were supposed to build together. It's gone now, but there's something freeing about that too. I'm no longer tied to the version of my life that revolved around her. I can build something different, something better. I pull out my phone and scroll through my contacts. There are people I haven't spoken to in a long time. Old friends, family members I've lost touch with because I was so wrapped up in Maya and our life together. Maybe it's time to reconnect, to rebuild those relationships. I send a few texts, just to start. Nothing heavy, just checking in. It feels like another step forward, another piece of the puzzle falling into place. As I sit there, staring at the screen, I realize that this fresh start I've been thinking about, it's already happening. It's slow, and it's painful, but it's happening. One day at a time, just like Mark said, and I'm going to be okay. The next few weeks are a strange mix of emotions. Some days, I feel like I'm making real progress, while other days, it feels like the weight of everything crashes back down on me all at once. But I keep going. I wake up every day, get through the moments when I miss the life I thought I was going to have, and keep putting one foot in front of the other. My routine is different now. I don't wake up expecting a text from Maya or planning out our future together. I spend more time focusing on myself, on what I want, on who I am without her. It's not easy, but it's necessary. The divorce process is moving along steadily. Rebecca keeps me updated, and though Maya hasn't contested anything, she hasn't exactly made it easy either. She's been quiet, which is fine by me. It's almost like she's accepted the fact that we're over. Or maybe she knows there's no coming back from the damage she caused. Either way, I haven't heard a word from her, and that's a relief. One day, while I'm clearing out the garage, I stumble across another box of wedding decorations. It's like a cruel reminder of the life I'm still unpacking, literally and emotionally. The box is filled with things we'd picked out together: table centerpieces, the custom signs with our initials, little pieces of our perfect wedding that never happened. For a moment, I just stand there, staring at it. It feels like an open wound, like a punch to the gut. I thought I was past the worst of it, but seeing these things, tangible reminders of what we planned, makes it all feel fresh again. My chest tightens, and I feel the anger bubbling back up. I grab the box and drag it to the backyard, determined to rid myself of it once and for all. There's no reason to keep holding on to this stuff. It's just another tie to a future that doesn't exist anymore. As I set the box down, I pull out my lighter. The small flame flickers in the breeze, and for a second, I hesitate. But then, with a deep breath, I flick it toward the pile of wedding decorations, watching as the flames slowly catch and begin to consume everything. The paper centerpieces curl and blacken. The signs warp and crack in the heat, and before long, it's all just ashes and smoke. I stand there, watching the fire until there's nothing left but embers. It feels like a release, like I've finally let go of something I didn't even realize I was still holding on to. A strange sense of peace washes over me as the last bits of the wedding decorations burn away. That evening, I feel lighter. Maybe it's just the act of getting rid of those last remnants of our wedding. Or maybe it's the realization that I'm truly free now. I don't know. But for the first time in a long while, I feel like I'm not carrying the weight of her betrayal around with me. It's still there, of course, but it feels more distant now, like a scar instead of an open wound. Later that night, I get a call from an old friend, Sarah. We went to college together, and we've stayed in touch over the years, but we haven't really talked much since I got engaged. She knew about Maya, but I hadn't told her the details of what went down. "Hey, Rick," she says, her voice warm and familiar. "I heard about what happened. Are you okay?" There's no judgment in her tone, just genuine concern. It's a simple question, but the kindness behind it almost makes me choke up. I haven't really talked to anyone about what happened, other than Mark and the lawyer. "I'm getting there," I say, surprised by how true it feels to say it out loud. We end up talking for hours, catching up on life, swapping stories about old times, and laughing about things that don't feel so heavy. It's the first time in what feels like forever that I've genuinely enjoyed a conversation without the dark cloud of my failed relationship hanging over me. Before we hang up, Sarah says something that sticks with me. "You're stronger than you think, Rick. You're going to come out of this better than before." I know it. After the call, I sit in the quiet of my house, thinking about her words. Maybe she's right. Maybe I'm stronger than I've given myself credit for. I survived the worst betrayal of my life, and I'm still standing. Maybe that's something. For the first time since everything fell apart, I feel a flicker of hope. The next few days, that flicker of hope stays with me, growing little by little. It's still a struggle sometimes. There are moments when the weight of what happened hits me, and I have to remind myself that I'm moving forward. But the difference now is that I can see a way out. I can see the future, and it doesn't look as dark as it did before. Sarah and I keep in touch more often after that call. There's something comforting about reconnecting with someone who knew me before all this, someone who remembers who I was before Maya and the mess she made of my life. We talk almost every night now, sometimes just about stupid stuff, like shows we're watching or the latest news, but it feels good to have those conversations. Like a reminder that life doesn't stop just because mine took a detour. One evening, a few weeks after our first call, Sarah suggests we meet up. "It'd be great to see you," she says, her voice light and casual, but I can hear the underlying concern. I mean, we haven't caught up in person for ages. At first, I hesitate. The idea of being out in the world, seeing people, feels a little daunting. But then I realize that maybe that's exactly what I need. A break from the solitude, from the walls of this house that have seen too much. So, I agree. We meet at a small bar downtown, one we used to hang out at back in college. The moment I walk in, The familiar atmosphere washes over me, and for the first time in a long while, I feel something close to normal. Sarah's sitting at the bar when I arrive, her face lighting up when she sees me. "There he is," she says, smiling as she waves me over. I smile back, genuinely this time, and sit down next to her. It feels easy, natural, like no time has passed between us. We slip into conversation as if we'd never missed a beat, and for a couple of hours, I forget all about the mess my life had become. We talk about everything: our jobs, the latest drama with mutual friends, and even some of the ridiculous things we did in college that we'd almost forgotten. At one point, she leans in with a mischievous grin and says, "Remember that time we got kicked out of that dive bar for starting a food fight?" I laugh, shaking my head. "I still can't believe you were the one who threw the first punch. I always thought it'd be Mark." Sarah laughs too, and it's infectious. For a moment, it feels like all the heaviness I've been carrying lifts, replaced by the lightness of those memories. It's like a small glimpse of who I used to be before everything got so complicated. As the night wears on and the bar starts to quiet down, Sarah looks at me with a softness in her eyes. "I'm really glad you're doing better, Rick. I've been worried about you." I nod, appreciating her honesty. "It's been rough, I admit, but I think I'm finally starting to come out of it. I mean, it still hurts, but it's not as bad as it was." She nods, her gaze steady. "That's how it works, you know. One day, you just realize the pain isn't as sharp anymore. It doesn't go away completely, but it fades." There's something about the way she says it that makes me believe her. Maybe it's because she's known me long enough to see the change, or maybe it's because she's been through her own share of tough times. Either way, I feel a sense of calm settle over me, like maybe things really are going to be okay. We finish our drinks and step outside into the cool night air. The city feels alive around us, people laughing, talking, going about their lives. I realize I haven't felt this connected to the world in months. It's like waking up from a long, dark dream. As we stand on the sidewalk, Sarah turns to me with a smile. "I'm really proud of you, Rick. You've come a long way." I smile back, feeling a warmth I haven't felt in a long time. "Thanks. I couldn't have done it without people like you." She gives me a quick hug, and as we part ways, I feel lighter, more grounded than I have in months. I watch her walk away, realizing that for the first time, the future doesn't seem so bleak. There's life after betrayal. There's life after Maya. And tonight, for the first time, I believe it. I walk to my car, feeling the night breeze on my face, and I know that I'm going to be okay. Maybe not right away, but soon. I'm rebuilding, one day at a time, and that's enough. The days that follow my night out with Sarah feel different, lighter, somehow. It's not like everything has magically healed, but there's a shift inside me. I wake up and the first thought that crosses my mind isn't about Maya or the wedding that never was. Instead, I think about what I want to do today, how I want to spend my time. It's small, but it's progress. The divorce proceedings are moving along smoothly, thanks to Rebecca. There are no major hiccups, no last-minute battles from Maya's side. It feels like she's accepted the inevitable. Maybe she knows that fighting it would only drag things out longer, or maybe she's just as eager to move on as I am. Either way, the end is in sight. In the meantime, I've thrown myself into work. It's been a good distraction, something that helps keep my mind from wandering too far into the past. I've even taken on a few new projects, things I was hesitant to commit to while Maya and I were together. It feels good to focus on something that's just mine, something I can control. One afternoon, while I'm at my desk, my phone buzzes. It's a text from Sarah, and I smile when I see her name. We've been talking more and more lately, and it's been a bright spot in what's otherwise been a pretty dark few months. Sarah **K. You free this weekend? There's a new art exhibit downtown I've been dying to check out. Thought it'd be fun to go together. I pause for a moment, considering. A few months ago, the idea of going out to an art exhibit, or anywhere, really would have felt impossible. But now, it doesn't seem so daunting. In fact, it sounds nice. Something different, something that has nothing to do with the past. I type back quickly. Yeah, I'm in. Sounds like fun. The next few days pass quickly, and by the time the weekend rolls around, I'm actually looking forward to it. It's been a long time since I felt excited about something, and it's a welcome change. I meet Sarah outside the gallery on Saturday, the sun shining bright overhead as people bustle by on the busy street. Sarah grins when she sees me. Ready to get cultured? I laugh. Always. The exhibit is beautiful, modern, abstract art that neither of us fully understands, but we spend the afternoon wandering through the gallery, making jokes about the more bizarre pieces and pretending to be art critics. It's easy, comfortable, and for the first time in a long while, I find myself genuinely enjoying the moment. No weight, no pressure, just a good day with a good friend. As we leave the gallery, the sun is starting to set, casting a warm glow over the city. We walk down the street, talking about everything and nothing, and it strikes me how much I've missed this. Not just the easy companionship, but the simple act of being present in my own life. For so long, I've been stuck in survival mode, just trying to get through each day. But now, I'm starting to live again. Sarah glances over at me as we walk. "You look happier," she says, her voice soft but sincere. I smile, realizing she's right. "I think I am," I admit. "I mean, it's been rough, but I feel like I'm finally moving forward." She nods, her smile widening. "You deserve to be happy, Rick. After everything you've been through." We walk in silence for a while, the city buzzing around us, and I feel a sense of peace settle over me. It's not the kind of peace that comes from forgetting, because I know I'll never forget what happened, but the kind that comes from accepting. I'm not who I was before, but that's okay. I'm someone new, someone stronger. And that's enough. As we reach the end of the block, Sarah pauses, turning to face me. "You know," she says, her voice teasing, "I think you should start making a list of things you want to do. You know, now that you're getting this fresh start. Like a bucket list, but for your new life." I raise an eyebrow. "A bucket list, huh?" "Yeah," she grins. "Why not? You've been through hell and back. Now it's time to figure out what you want, what's next for you." I think about it for a second, and the idea doesn't sound half bad. A list of things that are just for me, things I want to do, without anyone else's expectations or plans getting in the way. It feels like a fitting way to mark this new chapter. "All right," I say, smiling. "I'll think about it." Sarah nods, clearly pleased with herself. "Good. And when you're ready, I want to see that list." We say our goodbyes, and as I drive home, I feel lighter than I have in months. It's not just about moving on anymore. It's about figuring out what comes next. The life I thought I wanted is gone, but that doesn't mean my future has to be empty. There's so much left to do, so much left to discover, and for the first time, I'm looking forward to it. As I pull into my driveway, I sit in the car for a moment, thinking about everything that's happened, everything that's led me to this point. The pain, the betrayal, the anger. It's all part of my story now, but it doesn't have to define me. I'm going to make that list, and I'm going to start living again. The next morning, I wake up feeling different, like something shifted inside me. It's subtle, but I can feel it, this quiet sense of determination. The idea of making a list, of setting goals for myself, sticks with me. It's strange how something so simple can feel like a lifeline, a way to reclaim control over my life after everything that happened. I grab a notebook from my desk and sit down at the kitchen table, staring at the blank page in front of me. It feels a little silly at first, like I'm writing some kind of self-help checklist, but the more I think about it, the more I realize that this is exactly what I need. A fresh start means figuring out who I am without Maya, without the weight of the past hanging over me. I write the first thing that comes to mind. 1. Travel somewhere new, alone. Asterisk asterisk. For years, every trip I took was with Maya. We always talked about where we'd go next, what adventures we'd have together. But I never really thought about where I wanted to go on my own. Now, I'm going to make that choice for myself. I don't know where yet, but the thought of it excites me. Just me, exploring the world on my terms. I stare at the page for a moment before writing the next one. 2. Take up a new hobby. Asterisk asterisk. I've spent so much time focused on work and my relationship that I've forgotten about the things I used to love doing. I want to find something new, something just for me. Maybe it's hiking, maybe it's photography. Hell, maybe it's something I haven't even thought of yet. but I want to try something different. The ideas start flowing more easily after that. 3. Reconnect with old friends. Asterisk asterisk. 4. Run a marathon. Asterisk asterisk. 5. Learn how to cook a proper meal without using the microwave. Asterisk asterisk. I laugh at that last one, but it feels right. I've spent too long eating takeout and frozen dinners while my mind was preoccupied with everything else. It's time to take care of myself in the little ways that matter. As I fill the page with goals, big and small, it hits me how much I've been neglecting myself. For so long, my life was centered around making things work with Maya, and then, after she betrayed me, it was about surviving the fallout. But now, I'm starting to see that there's a whole world out there waiting for me. I just need to take the first step. The list keeps growing. 6. Get back into shape. Asterisk asterisk. 7. Go to a concert, alone. Asterisk asterisk. 8. Read more books. Asterisk asterisk. Each item feels like a piece of the future I want to build. A future where I'm not defined by what happened, where I'm free to explore who I am without anyone else's expectations weighing me down. After a while, I put down the pen and stare at the list in front of me. It's not finished, not by a long shot, but it's a start. And for the first time in what feels like forever, I feel like I'm in control of my own life again. I snap a picture of the list and text it to Sarah. She's the one who encouraged me to do this, after all. Me asterisk asterisk, here it is. The start of my fresh start. Asterisk. A few minutes later, my phone buzzes with her reply. Sarah asterisk asterisk, I love it. You're gonna crush this list, Rick. I'm proud of you. Asterisk. I smile at her words, a warmth spreading through my chest. It feels good to have someone in my corner, someone who believes in me, even when I wasn't sure I could believe in myself. For the rest of the day, I tackle the first item on my list, researching where I want to travel. I lose myself in pictures of faraway places, places I've never been but can't wait to explore. There's something liberating about planning a trip just for me, without having to consider anyone else's preferences. It's just me, deciding where I want to go. By the time the day ends, I've narrowed it down to a few options, somewhere with mountains, maybe a national park where I can hike and clear my head. It feels right, like the perfect place to start over. As I lie in bed that night, I feel something I haven't felt in a long time. Hope. Real, tangible hope for the future. The hurt is still there, the betrayal still stings, but it's starting to fade, little by little. And in its place, something new is growing, something stronger. Maya was a part of my life, but she's not my future. I am, and I'm finally ready to embrace that. The last thing I think before I drift off to sleep is that tomorrow is another day, another step forward. I don't know where this path will take me, but I'm ready to find out. And that's enough for now. Thanks for sticking with us until the end. If this story resonated with you, make sure to subscribe for more intense tales of love, betrayal, and personal growth. We dive deep into the complexities of relationships, exposing the raw emotions and dramatic moments that define them. Your likes and shares help us reach others who may need to hear these stories. So, smash that like button, share this video, and join our community of people navigating their own relationship battles. Together, we can shine a light on these challenging experiences. See you in the next one.